Welcome to another episode of Pottawattamie County Routes. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. All right, so things are going to be a little bit different this week. I'm headed out of town. No, not permanently, but I am going to be spending several days at Botna Bend Park over by Hancock, and we are going to be bringing you shows from there, interviews from there. I used to have a podcast called Campfire Conversations. This is going to have a similar feel to that. We're going to light a fire, we'll sit next to it, and we're going to talk with different folks that are in the area. So I'm really looking forward to this trip. It's going to be a chance for me to unplug a little bit, but not completely. I'm going to be working, and I'm still going to be coming into the studios where I'm sitting right now. But this is going to be an opportunity to just bring something a little bit different, while at the same time highlighting what is going on around the county. And that's really the point to the show. We talk about businesses, the restaurants, the people, but we also need to talk about the places, the parks, the natural resources, the things that make Pottawattamie County a great place to live. And Botna Bend is definitely one of those places. Now, if you've not been there, get in the car. You need to go. 119 acres right on the West Nishnabotna River. It's quiet. It's shaded. It's exactly what you want when you're looking to get out of town for a few days. I'm going to be going out with my tent. They do have RV spots and water and electric hookups, and tent camping is more my speed, so that's what I'm going to be doing. The facilities are great. They have a shower house, restrooms, everything you need, and if you have an RV, it's just $20 a night. You can't beat that. Let's talk a little bit more about the setup that's there. So when you pull into Botna Bend, you are going to immediately notice the trees. These are not new plantings. These are massive old growth trees. They provide a canopy over the campground. It keeps things cool even in the middle of summer. That's a big deal when you're camping in Iowa. The layout is smart. You have RV spots, you have the tent areas. They're spaced out very well. You don't feel like you're right on top of your neighbor, but you are close enough to say hello. That is the campground dynamic. People are friendly. They wave. They offer to help you if you're backing in a trailer. It's a good community feel. Now, I'm going to be setting up in one of the RV spots because I need power for the equipment, but I'm also going to be getting that fire going. That is non-negotiable. You cannot have a campfire conversation without a campfire. Building a fire is part of the process. It forces you to slow down. You gather the wood, you get the kindling right, you watch it catch. It takes time, and that's the point. We spend so much time rushing from one thing to the next. A campfire doesn't rush. It just burns at its own pace. You sit there, you watch the flames, and you listen to the wood crackle. I am so looking forward to that. It is relaxing, and it clears your head. And then there's cooking over a fire. I love doing this. It's another thing entirely. Everything just tastes better outside. I don't really know the science behind it, but it's true. Are you a hot dog person? Just a simple hot dog or a foil packet with potatoes and onions, a steak cooked on a grate over the coals, basic, primitive, great. I'm planning on doing a lot of cooking while I'm out there, and I might even break out the cast iron skillet for breakfast. Bacon and eggs in the morning air, that is hard to beat. That is what this trip is about for me, getting away from the schedule. Like I said, I'm still working. I'm still coming into the studio, but when I'm done here, I'm headed back out to the campgrounds. I'm going to be building a fire, and I'm going to be sitting outside. It's a different pace. Primrose Retirement Community in Council Bluffs believes home should be a place of comfort, connection, and care. From personalized support to engaging daily activities, everything they do is designed to help residents live fully and confidently. At Primrose, that's their priority, to put the quality of their residents' care and daily needs at the top of their list each day and every day. It's not just about where you live. It's about how you live. Learn more about life at Primrose by going to primroseretirement.com and then contact Jamie Bush at Primrose and discover a place that truly puts people first. Your home for all natural health solutions in Southwest Iowa is Bambi's Green Acres Natural Market. Serving the area since 1997, Bambi is located at 805 South Main Street in Council Bluffs and has a wide selection of vitamins, supplements, essential oils, herbal remedies, and a lot more. Staffed with over 37 years of experience, Bambi is putting health back in your hands. Explore your wellness options online at bambisgreenacres.com. We all get caught up in the day-to-day, the emails, the phone calls, the meetings. It wears on you, but you don't always realize it until you step away. That's what I am doing. I'm stepping away, and I'm hitting the reset button this week. I think we all need to do that from time to time. We need to get outside. We need to disconnect, even if it's just for an afternoon. Go for a walk, sit by the river, watch the bison. Changes your perspective. It reminds you that there is more to life than whatever is on your screen. Now, let's talk about the main attraction. The thing that really sets Botna Bend apart from other county parks is the wildlife. They have live herds of bison and elk right there in the park. They've been there since the 1960s, and you can walk right up to the fence and watch them. It is impressive. These are massive animals. So let's start with the bison. Before European settlement was here, there were millions of bison roaming North America. They were the keystone species of the Great Plains. They shaped the entire ecosystem. They were nearly driven to extinction in the late 1800s, and the fact that we have them here today, that we can stand at a fence in Pottawattamie County and look at them, that's profound. They have large enclosed pastures. They have plenty of room to roam. You stand there, you watch them graze. They move with this quiet, unhurried grace. It is really kind of mesmerizing. And then they have a white bison. That's a rare thing to see, a genetic rarity. For many Native American tribes, the birth of a white bison is considered a sacred event. It's a symbol of hope. It's a big draw for the park, and for good reason. If you go out there, look for the white bison. It's a sight you will not forget. And then the elk. Elk, another species that used to be native to Iowa, but overhunting and habitat loss pushed them out. We have a herd right in Hancock. Majestic animals, especially the bulls with their massive antlers. If you're out there in the fall during the rut, you might hear them bugling. And if you've never heard an elk bugle, I've heard it in the wild. It is really kind of otherworldly. High-pitched, echoing whistle. It sends shivers down your spine. It's not the sound that you would expect to be coming from an animal like an elk, but it is the sound of the wild. It's a sound you don't expect to hear, but there it is. Having these animals here, a huge educational tool. Kids come out. They see a bison. They realize how big it is. They learn about the prairie. They learn about history. It makes it real for them, and you can read a book about the Great Plains, but standing next to a bison, that makes it tangible. The Pottawattamie County Conservation Board manages those herds, massive undertaking. This is not a zoo, it's a conservation effort. They're preserving a piece of history. You don't just put up a fence and walk away. These are large animals, and they require care. They require veterinary attention. They require proper feeding. The Conservation Board has been doing this since the 1960s, and they know what they're doing. Now, I'm going to be hopefully talking with John Fenner while I'm out there. He's the park ranger at Botna Bend. I want to hear his take on things, what it takes to run that park, how they manage the herds, what the future looks like for conservation in the county. It's going to be a good conversation. We'll have that for you later this week. And if you have kids, you need to take them to see the bison and the elk. It's a guaranteed hit. Gets them engaged and gets them off those screens and phones. That's why the adventure packs are such a good idea. The park provides them for free. Kids can check them out at the lodge. They get binoculars, they get bug boxes, they get track identification cards. It turns a walk in the park into an exploration, a brilliant idea by the conservation team. Get kids engaged with nature. Teach them to appreciate it. If they appreciate it now, they will protect it later. That is the goal. The other defining feature of the park is the river, the West Nishnabotna River. Runs right through it. The name Nishnabotna comes from an Odo word. It means canoe-making river, or a river where boats are built. When you look at it, you can see why. It's a gentle river. It meanders. It's not fast water. It's peaceful. It's steady. It's perfect for a lazy float, and the history of the river is interesting. Back in the day, it was a major transportation route. Native American tribes used it. Early settlers used it. It provided water. It provided power for mills. It was essential for survival. But the river caused problems, too. It flooded. It washed out crops. So in the early 1900s, they decided to fix it. They channelized part of it. They dug straight channels to move the water faster. It worked for flood control. It opened up more land for farming. But it did change the river. It destroyed habitats. It increased erosion. You lose the oxbows. You lose the wetlands. You lose the places where fish spawn and wildlife drink. So now we're seeing a shift. People realize the value of the natural river. Organizations like the Friends of the West Nishnabotna River are working to protect it. They're promoting water quality. They're improving access. The State Water Trail designation was a big step. The Iowa DNR designated it as a state water trail in 2010. It's a 26.8-mile trail. It's the only state-designated water trail in southwest Iowa. It recognized the river as a recreational asset. It brought funding and it brought awareness. You can see the results of that work at Botna Bend. The river access is fantastic. And rubber duck outfitters operate right out of the park. They make it easy. You show up, you rent a tube or a kayak, and they drop you off upriver, float you back down to the park. It's a great setup. Brings a lot of people to the area, and that's good for Hancock. It's good for the local economy. People come to float the river, they buy gas, they get food. It's a win for everyone. I am not going to get out on the water. It's a little bit cold, but I'm going to be sitting next to it, and I would I'll probably take some video while I'm there and also listening to those birds up in the trees. It's going to be a completely different perspective when you're sitting next to the river. You see the banks a little differently when you're sitting on them. You see the wildlife differently. You're a part of the environment, not just watching it. That is the balance we're always striking here in Pottawattamie County. Agriculture is vital. It's our foundation. But conservation is vital too. We need both. We need productive farms, and we need clean rivers and wild spaces. The Pottawattamie Conservation Board navigates that balance every day. And they do a great job. If you haven't floated the Nishnabotna, you need to put it on your list. A great way to spend a hot summer afternoon just drifting down the river. No rush, no schedule. I also want to talk about the history of the area, and I want to talk about the conversations that we're having out there. Hancock, great little town, population about 200. Quiet, just a classic Iowa farm town with deep roots. The people there are proud of their community, and they're proud of the park. Botna Bend is a big part of that identity. When you drive through any of the small towns around Pottawattamie County, you see the history. You see the old brick buildings on Main Street. You see the grain elevators towering over everything else, a reminder of what built this state: agriculture, hard work, community. The area, originally settled in the mid-1800s, the Mormon migration passed through this region. Many stayed to establish farms and communities before eventually moving further west. Imagine what it took to carve a life out of this prairie. We come out to camp for a week, think we're roughing it because we have to walk 50 yards to the shower house. The early settlers were building sod houses. They were breaking the tough prairie sod with horse-drawn plows. They were surviving brutal Iowa winters without modern insulation or central heating. Their resilience is staggering. When I look at the old-growth trees in Botna Bend, some of which have been standing for well over a century, I think about what they've witnessed. They've seen the river flood and recede. They've seen the prairie transformed into farmland. They've seen generations of families come to the banks to fish, to picnic, and to find a moment of peace. There's a continuity in nature that I find deeply comforting. The world changes rapidly. Technology advances at breakneck speed, but an oak tree, it still grows at the same slow, steady pace it always has. The river still flows to the south. The seasons still turn. That is what Pottawattamie County Routes is all about, highlighting those things and telling those stories. Now, the Campfire Conversations idea, that's going to fit perfectly with that, something about sitting around a fire that just kind of changes how people talk, strips away the pretense. You're not in a sterile studio. You're not sitting across a desk from someone. You're outside. You're relaxed. The conversation just flows naturally. You end up talking about things you wouldn't normally talk about. You hear stories you wouldn't normally hear. That is what I want to capture. I want to capture the real stories of the people who use the park, the people who manage it, the people who also live in the area. And I have been talking to some folks who have been coming to Botna Bend for years, families who make it an annual tradition. I want to know what keeps them coming back. Is it the river? Is it the wildlife? Is it just the peace and quiet? I'm sure it's a combination of all those things. And also, as I mentioned, I'm hoping to sit down with John Fenner. Park rangers have a very unique perspective. They see the park at its best, and they see it at its worst. Service Master Restore by Schmader knows it can be hard to get things back to normal when you've suffered serious property damage due to flooding, fire, or smoke, and that can oftentimes lead to mold, and you may be left with all sorts of questions about how to get your home or business back to normal. It's easy. You give Cindy Schmader a call with Service Master Restore by Schmader. Her phone number, 402-339-9911. Are you in the market for stylish, locally curated fashion that's close to home? Visit Unique Boutique Iowa in Neola at 101 4th Street, your destination for trendy clothing, accessories, and distinctive gifts. Open on the weekends, Saturdays 10 to 2, Sundays 11 to 3. You can always shop online at shopubiowa.com. They deal with the beautiful sunny days, and they deal with the severe storms that roll through and knock down trees. They are the stewards of the land, and they take that responsibility seriously. And I'm hoping to ask John about what changes he's seen and how the park has evolved and how the river changed, what the biggest challenges they're facing today. Those are the interviews I'm going to be bringing to you very soon. It's going to be a fun time taking a studio show and putting it out in the woods. There's probably going to be a few technical challenges. The wind, it might get a little noisy in the microphone. We might hear a tractor going by. A bird might decide to squawk right in the middle of the interview. But that's part of the charm. It's real, unscripted, and authentic. It's just like Pottawattamie County. Botna Bend isn't just a place to camp. It is a hub of activity. They host events throughout the year, and you remember back in March, we talked about this on the show, an annual maple tree tapping event. They tap the silver maple trees in the park, collect the sap, and boil it down into a syrup. Great process to watch. You should head out. This September, usually around Labor Day weekend, they're going to be hosting a pancake breakfast and use that very same syrup. A fantastic community event. It's free, but they will accept free will donations. You can also buy some of the park's syrup while you're there. Makes a great gift. And then in November, they celebrate National Bison Day with Bison Fest. They have hayrack rides, storytelling, crafts, demonstrations. A great way to learn more about these incredible animals and the history of the prairie. So whether you come for a quiet weekend of camping, a float down the river, or one of their community events, Botna Bend really does have something for everyone. Also, hey, if you like disc golf, they have a 9-hole course there. And if you're into archery, they have a range with targets from 15 to 40 yards. There's horseshoe pits, there's volleyball courts. There is a lot of activities for the kids, and you can be just as active as you want or do absolutely nothing. Both perfectly acceptable. The Pottawattamie County Conservation Board's been doing this work, as we said, since 1960, and they managed over 2,300 acres across the county. There's Arrowhead, Hitchcock Nature Center, Narrows River Park, Botna Bend, Old Town Park. They provide over 100 campsites, modern and camping cabins, rental facilities, fishing ponds, river access, miles of trails, and they do it all for $3 a vehicle per day, just $3. And I would also recommend that you get the annual pass because it is going to help the Conservation Board. They need our support. Parks don't maintain themselves, and the bison and elk don't feed themselves. Trails don't clear themselves. It takes people and resources and a sustained commitment to keep these places alive and accessible. So if you want to support them, become a member. And I know that I have the sticker on my car, and it's as low as $25 for an annual membership, and that gets you unlimited access to the county parks for a full year for $25. It's less than a tank of gas. It's less than a meal at most restaurants. When you buy a park pass or become a member of the foundation, you are part of that. You're saying that this matters and that the land matters, that the future of this county includes wild spaces and clean rivers and animals roaming in pastures along the Nishnabotna. I believe that, and I believe it deeply, which is why I'm headed out there to spend the week. I would like to challenge everyone, if you're watching, to find your own Botna Bend. It doesn't have to be a week-long camping trip. Could be an hour at your local park. Could be just a walk around your neighborhood without your phone. Could be sitting on your back porch with a cup of coffee and watching the birds. Find a way to disconnect from the noise and reconnect with the quiet. And I promise you, it makes a difference. And if you can carve out a weekend, Botna Bend is a great choice. Bring a tent, rent an RV spot, just come out for the day. Pack a cooler, bring some camp chairs, set up near the river, and let the kids play. Walk the trails, watch the elk, and let the pace of the park dictate your day. going to finish packing the tent and the car, and I'm going to be loading up the gear, and I'm headed out to Hancock. I look forward to bringing you the interviews we record out there. We're going to have those for you very soon. My name's Todd Studer, and this is Pottawattamie County Routes. Have a great week. Get outside. Enjoy the parks. Enjoy the county. And we'll be talking to you again tomorrow morning.